events. And also, I love the transformation experts. You guys do a great service to the community. And also, thank you, everyone, for putting your energy, your effort, and your emotion to be here. I'm going to share my screen and make sure, is everybody seeing my screen? No.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So is it coming from the beginning? Let's see. Is it going from the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in full screen, but at least it's there.
You gotta hit presentation.
It needs to be in full screen from the beginning, not in presentation mode. Okay.
Yeah.
We had it all set up right, and I changed something.
If you go to the bottom right corner, there's a little thing to get full screen.
It looks like a cup.
Right there. Oh, to the left. A little bit more. Right there, that one.
All right.
There you go.
Is it full screen now? We got it.
It is, sir.
All right. Everybody's great. So welcome to Leadership is a Process, Not an Event. And we're going to be here for the next 6 hours or so. No, I'm kidding. We should be able to cover this in about very quickly. But the point with Leadership as a Process is it was created based on our program, The Leadership Journey, which is a 6-month program. Rick alluded to it. And we've been running for many, many, many years, these leadership journeys. And we have a ton of graduates all over the place that take the journey and get certified as a certified professional leaders. But I wanted to create a process that people could come to and understand that leadership is like building your muscles. And I know Rick and his whole team speak to this, but you don't just build your muscles once when you go to a gym. You go to a gym for really the rest of your career. And we want to really be developing ourselves, not, before school, during school, and after school, but we're talking about your business career. From the time you enter business to the time you decide to leave business and beyond, you're continually learning to build your leadership muscles. And what do I mean by that? You're not just doing sit-ups once a week. You're doing sit-ups more than that, and you're doing push-ups and pull-ups and kettlebell swings and all the things you would do in a gym. Why would we think leadership muscles are any easier? They're really very similar, and in some cases much harder. Anyone that's had a relationship as a leader of leaders, of leading other people, that's not an easy task. We all work on it. The issue is what are we doing to take our skills from where they are now to where we'd like to see them? So what I'd like to do is impart upon all of us some things that we could begin to practice right away. I mentioned to Nelu, and I know she's got the information on, that this is also a radio show that I do on Mondays from 10 to 10:30 live, but it's also made into a podcast that you can listen to on your own. The podcasts are on our website, and Nelu's going to pass that on to everyone. And we'll be able to, you'll be able to really listen to that show and really practice these skills starting today. And hopefully we get you to implement one change starting today that will build your leadership muscles, that'll advance your career, to empower yourself to go where you never wanted to go before, unless you gave yourself a little bit of a shove. So we're going to obtain a baseline of where you're at in each one of these areas that I talk about in the presentation. And it's all based on a leadership compass. And you are going to get a copy of the compass. Nelu has the compass, and you're going to see it in this presentation, but you're going to get a copy of this leadership compass as well, that you can take and you can measure where you're at in each one of these areas. And anyone that wants to have a private conversation with me and, look at how do I measure my effectiveness in these areas, we can have a discussion, and I'm open to talking to anyone online, offline, or whichever way you want to. We could meet and discuss where exactly are you at to give you the baseline, but try to baseline yourself tonight. Based on what you're hearing in the presentation. And we want to begin to implement one communication change. Does it need to be around communication? Everything is around communication. How you handle conflict, how you handle change, how you set your vision, mission, goals. What is your dream? What is your aspiration? How do you plan on carrying it out? All revolves around how you're communicating it, not only to yourself, but to other people as well. So we're going to look at some tools and processes that can help you. Obviously, those tools will give you one or two or three tonight, but at the end of the day, there's hundreds out there to build these leadership muscles. And the issue is for you to realize and to challenge yourself to keep working in these different areas. And that's the hardest part. That's why coaches hold people accountable, but we really want you to start to learn to hold yourself accountable. And we're there to help you in any way we can. That's why we're doing the radio show and some of these other things that you could, again, listen to on your own leisure or during the actual show itself. Without further ado, we're going to take and show you the compass. And here are the areas of the compass: awareness, self-awareness, what we call magic dust. That's your special skills, abilities, and talents that you bring, that you're special. Every one of us on the call here is, and every one of us on the planet has what's called magic dust. The issue is, do we know what it is? It's not something you smoke, but it is something that's special to you. It's your special skills, abilities, and talents that you possess, that other people have magic dust too. The issue is, do we allow them to use theirs, and do we use ours? Do we even know what it is? Do we know, or are we trying to be everything to everyone, which is a very difficult thing to do? And then, what is our vision, mission, goals, measures, and what behavior are we using to carry that out? And that's like a lifelong process. Our vision may stay the same, but our mission, goals, measures, and our behavior to get there may change based on feedback, based on things that we've learned about ourselves. And so we really want you to have a dream or an aspiration. We want you to be able to communicate that to not only yourself and internally to yourself, but to everyone else. And we want you to communicate with clarity and gain alignment with the people that you're leading. We want you to hold yourself and others accountable. That was my weakest area, and I'll talk about the ramifications of being weak in that area. So this compass are the areas that we're going to be discussing during this program. I start out with a picture of my father, really, but this is my father, my mom, my nephew, my son, and my father's aide. Back in 2002, my father was in a terrible, terrible car accident. And he's 93 years old today. And at his 90th birthday, right before his 90th birthday, I mentioned to him how I was so impressed at how awesome he is. He lost an arm and lost a leg and became paralyzed in this car accident in 2002. And for 20-something years, he's lived in this electronic wheelchair with his aide and his wife taking care of him. And his attitude is what's so impressive. His attitude is 100% always positive. He does not vary from how he treats people, how he treats you when you see him. He's pleasant. He's always focused on you and the experience that he's having with you. And I asked him, I said, Dad, how do you do that? Just before his 90th birthday, I was curious. I was like, how do you make that happen for so many years with such a ramification to life that's happened to you? And he said, Mike, it's simple. And I said, really? What is it? He said, it's simple. I made a decision. I said, you made a decision? What is that? I don't understand. He said, I made a decision. I said, is that a spiritual thing? Is that? He goes, no, I decided that nothing is ever going to get in the way of how I am experiencing life and the joy that I'm experiencing and the other joy that I'm going to give to others. I'm going to let nothing get in the way of that. And it pounded me pretty hard because, we go through life with traffic jams and this and all kinds of things happening and, COVID happening and this, and he's been through all of this, by the way. And through all of it, he's pleasant, never gets upset, never yells at anybody, always is pleasant, always talks to you as if you're the only person there. And I give him a lot of credit. And as leaders, if we take away anything from tonight's talk, to make the decision that you're going to empower yourself to decide how you want to show up, how do I want to show up each and every moment as the leaders that you are? Everyone that attended tonight is a leader. You've empowered yourself to be here, and I congratulate you for that. And now it's, how do you decide you want to take it from there? I want to start out with this list of words, and I want you to look at these words. One column starts with likes authority and has a group of words. Another one starts with enthusiastic and has a group of words. Another column has sensitive feelings, has a list of words. And another one starts with reads all instruction. I want you to pick out a column that has the most appealing words to you, and pick out 3 words in that column that are most appealing to you, and look at all of the columns. Take a few minutes to look these over and look at all the columns, but pick out 3 words that are most like you or that appeal to you the most. So why don't we go ahead and take a little bit of time and do that?
Yeah, and if you want, Michael, they can put it on the chat.
I think Nelu has, oh, okay, they could put with the words that they picked. Yeah, we have a poll question that's going to come up. They can actually put the words they picked in the chat. That's a good point, Regina. I like that.
No, and if you have a poll everywhere, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, we do have a poll coming up because I'm going to ask them to narrow it down in a minute. But I love the idea. If you want to put them in there, you can. Take a few minutes. So at this point, if you could narrow the words to the column and select the one set of words or one word that strikes you the most, and stay in the same column that you're in now, but stick and try to figure out which one describes you the most. So for example, in the first column, it might be I'm strong-willed. The fourth column, it might be I'm factual. It's particular to you. Okay, everybody should have now nailed down the one word that's most like them. I know sometimes it's hard to do this, but what we want you to do is, how many people picked their word from column 1? Go ahead and answer this poll. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Those that pick column 1, pick column 1. Those that pick column 2, tell us about column 2. Those that pick column 3, and those that pick column 4, 4. And let's just see how many picked from each of these columns. So we've got the percentages coming in. 50% in column 1, 50% in column 2. Do we have any? 40% in column 1, 60% in column 2. Now it's back up to 50. No column 3s and 4s yet? Where's our 3s and 4s? Wow, I've never seen this before. None in column 3 or 4? Has everybody had a chance to vote? Anybody not had a chance to go yet?
If you can get in, you can tell me, and I put your vote in on the chat.
Okay, now we're down to 43%, 57%, but we have none in column 3 and 4. I'm so curious. Oh, a couple of people saying it's not allowing me to choose.
Oh, let me go ahead and check this out.
I saw that in the chat. It's not allowing me to choose. Somebody made a comment that
Yeah, I'm checking that out. Let me
3s
see.
and 4s may not
Um,
have shown up, which is possible.
Okay, how about now?
Try now, everyone, one last time. See if you can put your votes in. We've got 38% as 1s and 63% as 2s. In column 2, how about column 3 and 4? No columns 3s, no column 4. I did it on the poll. Okay. Good. I'm curious, Jackie, would you speak? Did you use a 3 or a 4?
No, I used it too.
Okay, no worries. Just wanted to verify. Okay. Why don't we? Oh, there we go. We just got a couple of 3s in. Very good. And we have no 4s yet. Still surprising to me. All right. All right. What we're gonna do is talk about this. Go to the next slide here. Oh, you got to bring me back. Oh,
There you go. There you go.
are we back in the presentation?
Not yet.
Do I have to share again?
Yes, sir. I think you have to share again.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So what was our final percentages, Nelu?
Okay, so we have 33% column 1, 58% column 2, and 8% column 3.
And none in column 4?
None of that.
Okay. So what we just experienced here is not like taking a real disc. A lot of you, I'm sure, have taken the disc instrument where your dominant influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. And the people that are in column 1 are dominant. What does that mean? They love taking charge. They love being goal-oriented. They love accomplishing goals. They're driven decision makers. So we have 33% of dominant directive people here. And now, does it mean your full disc would come out this? No, I don't want to make anybody think that, but at the end of the day, it's generally pretty accurate when you finally pick the word that's most like you. We have 58% eyes or influencers, people that like to really work through people, whereas the people that are D's like to work through people a lot, but they're very task and goal oriented. People I's are task and goal oriented too, but they generally do it with people. They love to be influencing. They're very social. They like to really be motivational and influential and with people. That's why you see words like promoter and fun loving and variety and spontaneous and liking change and optimistic. The people that are in column 3 are what we call S's. They're very steady. They like moving towards a target very, very conscientiously. They're very thoughtful, again, very people-oriented, warm and relational. They like getting things done. You can give a steady person any task and they will get it done, and they will, they'll move steadily towards it. And then the C's, which we didn't have any in this group, which is really surprising, but they're very, very conscientious. They're very critical thinking. Some of you probably have blends of C, and we all are complex. We all have blends of all of these, but we tend to like one style generally more than the others. And we tend to think everyone shows up the same way as we show up. So if you're a D, you think everybody's dominant. Everybody likes a good argument. Everybody likes to be goal-oriented and results-oriented and controlling and action-oriented and move steadily towards the target. If our I's, we think everybody gets, wants to get along with everybody and be social and group-oriented and optimistic. Same thing with S's. We want everybody to steadily move towards their target and get things, and I'll get it done. I'll be dependable. I'll make sure I get it. I'm adaptable. I'll make sure I get it done and nurture everybody along the way. And then the C's, we think everybody's logical, orderly. They want all the facts. They're very detailed. They're very analytical. So we think everybody shows up like us generally. Now, what happens is if we overuse our strength, it can end up becoming an Achilles heel. It can end up getting in our way. Has anyone ever seen anyone that overuses dominance so much that they become very, very forceful? So much so that they're not listening to other people. Has anybody ever seen that? You could raise your hands or just talk about if you've ever had a boss like that, or just let's speak about it. Anybody ever seen it?
Isn't that a bully?
Yeah, it can be. It can be viewed that, but it also can just be viewed, that's by them, that's great leadership. I'm making things happen. I see Alex raise your hand. Let me ask you something, the group, those that have seen it, was the person aware that they were using that style? Or, so Alex, you're saying no. So, and that's generally the case. They may be so much overusing dominance that they don't realize they're not letting other people be who they are. And so they're very controlling in the fact that they're overusing a gift that they have. We call it overusing we call it magic dust, overusing their magic dust. And it gets in the way of the other people using theirs. So the issue is we know that generally, and I've been doing this now, we've been coaching individuals in the journey. We run 5 assessments in the journey, full assessment, not this. But we run these 5 assessments, and the executive coaches, they run it a lot better than I run it. And they debrief them, and they find out that the people are not really aware that they were overusing or underusing one of these 3 styles, or one of these 4 styles. And in our case here on the call, one of the 3 styles. So the enthusiastic group, what happens if you overuse the greatest gift of influencing, being enthusiastic, taking risks, being energetic? What if you overuse that? What does it show up like? Anybody want to talk about it?
I'm not sure what you were saying. I came in late.
If you were to overuse, just even though you came in late, Rufus, thank you so much for speaking up. If you were to overuse a gift, and I call them gifts.
GIF. It's GIF.
GIF. Thank you.
GIF. Yeah.
Oh, GIF.
Who is Jay?
Yeah. No, that's what they're called.
If you overuse it, what might it look like? If you overuse being a promoter, being energetic.
So, to me, how usually it shows up, and sorry, I was having issues with my internet, so I'm on both video and my phone. Sometimes people are they want to get the work done. They don't want to keep talking about it. And also they might just get also very tired of change. Like, just tell me what to do and stop asking me and stop changing things.
Gabriella, you hit it right on the nail on the head. Just like the person that said that the D's could be viewed as bullies, the I's could be viewed as I'm just talking, I'm just networking, I'm not getting anything done. And people see that and maybe don't say anything to them because they're not aware they're using their gift, but they're not aware that they're being too much a promoter, too much enthusiasm, too much running around, and not enough getting the task done. So that is definitely a common, when we interview teams and find out what's working and what's not, that's definitely a common thing that comes out. What about the S's? If they overuse, they like routine, they dislike change, they give in, but they get a lot done. They make sure that they're trying not to be arguing. They like everybody to be at peace. What happens if you overuse that? What happens?
They like the status quo, even if it might not be the right thing anymore.
Exactly. They like the status quo. You put it so perfectly. So everyone that we've been working with for over 25 years, like I said, at all levels, chairmen of the board, CEOs, presidents, leads, agile scrum masters, all kinds of folks, and project managers, everyone we met, there hasn't been a person on the planet that we haven't met that doesn't have strengths but also doesn't have an Achilles heel, something that holds them back the most. And the issue is to know what it is so that you are clear about it, so that you don't dominate in the way that it's taking others away from being who they are. We didn't talk about the C's, the conscientious or the critical thinkers, but if you overuse orderly, factual, perfectionist, discerning, detailed, what do you get? Anybody? What if you overuse that too much, those beautiful traits, consistent, reserved, accurate? What if you do too much of that?
Perfectionism.
Perfectionism. Nothing ever moves. You don't make any changes because you want to do it 100% all the time, and it's analysis paralysis. So the issue is you start to tend to get team profiles, and you start to get organizational profiles, and you start to say, oh my God, we're overusing our gifts. We're using them too much, and we're not letting others be who they need to be to create the culture that we need to give and receive feedback properly, and all of these things. So I like to do this as an exercise in the icebreaker because it's kind of a sample. It's a very basic sample of what it is to do an assessment. And if people have done things like Strength Finders or the DISC or Hogan or Myers-Briggs or Enneagram, all of those tools are fabulous. Write it down. All the tools are fabulous. I don't say any one is any better than any others. I would do as many of those as you can to hone in on what is what I call magic dust. What is my magic dust? How do I explain it? How do I communicate it to people? And what can these tools tell me about it? So I would encourage you to go ahead and do those things. And again, because it will help you to answer some of these questions in the compass. Now, what we're really trying to do here is amplify our awareness so that if we know if we're more aware, then we can become the best leader that we can be. And awareness has a lot of compartments to it. I don't know if people have heard of the Johari window. It was created by Joseph Luft and Harry Ingram. But there's information, it's all based on information that's known to self and not known to self, and known to others and not known to others. And the intersections of those quadrants determine how a person either shares info about themselves or goes to investigate info about themselves, either shares info they know about others or allows them to go and investigate and become really investigating their unknown areas. So if you look at the quadrant intersections, you see on the top known to self and on the side known to others. The intersection of those two boxes is the open self. And you all were willing to share, where you fell in quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you're willing to be open with each other here on this call. The issue is what we're looking for as an effective leader is to increase our open self, to become more transparent. And the most effective leaders on the planet are able to share who they are and what they're all about and what is their vision, what is their mission, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. They don't threaten somebody if they share who they are. So they increase their open self and make it larger. And they do that based on a level of trust. So if you look at the bottom of this chart here, there's a level of trust. Some people approach trust, they trust everyone all the time. Some people approach trust, they trust nobody any of the time. And some people, it just takes time based on the people and the transaction that we're dealing with to build that rapport, to build that relationship. And the best teams and the best organizations that you can work with are ones that want to keep improving the trust in the organization. And it's based on being vulnerable, being open, being ability. And at the Transformation Expert Conference, one of the speeches was done by one of their customers, and he shared how vulnerable everybody came with each other and opened up at what was working and what was not at the very highest of levels. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking to increase the open self. Then there's the area that's known to self but not known to others. That's hidden. And the best leaders in the world not only open up their hidden self, but they also open up information that is allow others to open up what they're hiding. We worked with a group going back several years ago that one of the people said, I've been hiding information from the rest of the team because I was afraid of their reaction. And that's not an uncommon thing. I was afraid of their reaction, of how they were going to react. And so you want to kind of figure out, how do you get a safe environment? And in the conference, it was so great to hear how they created a safe environment, because that in and of itself is a process. And so I give Rick and his team a lot of credit in creating those safe spaces for people to open up and share and decrease what they're hiding and becoming more vulnerable with each other. Then there's information that's not known to self, but is known to others. You'd say, whoa, that's weird. It's usually a colleague or a partner or a great friend or a boss that will share with you information that kind of punches you a little hard, but at the same time, it's the best information that you could get. Back in the 80s, I got information, Mike, you're motivating, you're inspiring, you're a visionary. But then I got information that you're wishy-washy. You don't hold people accountable to anything. That kind of punched me hard in the stomach. I didn't know what to do about it. So I ended up finding a woman who specialized working with doctors and nurses in hospitals. And she showed me where my behavior was creating those perceptions. I was running a large IT shop at the time. And I said, can you come in here and help our team work with this kind of thing? And she did the first tool that I got certified in, which was Myers-Briggs, but I got certified in many, many tools. And we started to use these tools and turn the organization from one of the worst value surveys to one of the best in the company. And so the information is crucial because you can't see yourself a lot of times. We all have strengths and we run to those strengths, but we also all have an Achilles heel. And like I said, I haven't met anyone on the planet yet that doesn't have strengths and doesn't have an Achilles heel. And the issue is not that they're bad if they have it. We all have it. The issue is, do we know what it is? And are we willing to take any steps to find out? Are we willing to build those muscles to find out? And so there's tools to help people do that. Yeah, obviously, we run those tools in the journey, but you could begin to do these tools for free, right? On your own. There's free tools out on the internet that you could explore, and you could start to look at it within yourself, and it'll uncover your strengths. And if you overuse those strengths, generally they become an Achilles heel, and it's good to know when you're overusing it. Then there's the unknown quadrant, and that unknown quadrant is the study of your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, the study of creativity, of innovation, of growth. And it's going and empowering yourself and your organization to go where it's never gone before. And that takes a lot of courage and a lot of working on developing processes in order to be the best leaders that you can be. So the best leaders are able to increase the open self, reduce the hidden self, reduce their blind self, and increase their unknown self. Make sense? It's kind of a little bit complicated process, but it's there. And again, anybody that has any questions on it can always reach out to me, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. Magic dust. We kind of talked a little bit about it. It's your special skills, abilities, and talents that you have that's special to you. I like to look at everyone as a precious stone. I even carry around these precious stones with me. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but the issue is everyone is a precious stone. And sometimes we forget that. We think that only we have the preciousness. But the key is that every person we meet on the planet has it. And the issue is to know not only our own, but everyone else's. Somebody mentioned about a year ago at a Journey graduation, Mike, yours is the Real Diversity and Inclusion program. And I asked her, why did she say that? And she said, Mike, the reason I said that is because you focus on everyone's magic dust. You help them discover it, you nurture it, you don't leave anyone out. And you apply the process to everyone. And that made me feel good because that is true. So everyone on this call, if you do anything from this presentation, begin to look at what makes your magic come alive. What is it? How does it work? Can you communicate it? Can you talk about it? What happens when you overuse it? What happens when you underuse it? Are you afraid of it? A lot of times there's leaders that are so afraid of it because why? It comes so natural. It comes so easy to you. And you're afraid of it because it may scare you at the power of it. But I would encourage you to investigate. Vision, mission, goals, measures, equal behavior. The second, in my opinion, again, I always, on my radio show, which all of you could be guests if you'd like to be, on my radio show, I always ask, what's the most important part of the compass? And everyone says everything's important, but a lot of people pick vision, mission, goals, measures, equal behavior. And I pick it myself a lot of times. Why? Because if you don't know where you're going, no path is going to take you to where you don't know where you're going. So you really need to sit down and figure out where it is I want to go. What's my strategy of getting there? What are my 3 or 4 top goals of getting there? How am I going to measure my success? And what behavior am I going to use to take me there? In the leadership journey, we make you present this, but I would begin, if I was all of you, to buy some books that might help you. There's a book called The One-Page Business Plan by a guy named Jim Horan, Horan. I highly, highly recommend it. You can begin to study on your own and begin your vision, mission, goals, and measures process. It starts with a vision, a dream. I like to use a symbol of a telescope. Why? Because a telescope is way, 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 way out in space. It picks stars. Anybody that's looked through a telescope knows it's a little shaky, but it brings those stars and makes them closer and more personable to us. And then the symbol that I like to use after the telescope is a set of binoculars. It brings that vision and makes it more applicable to us. Why? Because it brings it closer. It makes it clearer. And it's our strategy. It's what we're going to do and how we're going to do it to carry out that dream that's very, very personal, almost impossible, and it lives on. It's eternal. And then we need another symbol to help us make it 100% personal and applicable to us. And I like to look at that as glasses. You can't just go off and put somebody else's glasses on. So you have to take and make your goals 100% applicable to you. Back years and years ago, I used to hear people, I'm waiting for my boss's goals so I can copy and paste them into my document. To me, that is a little bit nutty because they don't even know what you're doing. The people that are generally doing a lot of the work, they kind of know, but they don't really know. And it's even true in my company. Give a little story. We have people in our company attend the leadership journey. And one of the ladies who has 3 children, she wanted to wait, and she'd been working with us for a while. She wanted to wait and didn't want to take it right away. So she's been with us about 5 years. She started to take the journey about 6 months ago. And she says to us, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And why are we doing this? And why are we doing that? And we're like, I don't know. Why are we doing it? But through the years, the leadership didn't realize things had changed. So tweaks had to be made and all those improvements had to be made. So we had to become agile. Rick would be very proud of us. We had to become agile. And we started to make our changes, and those changes are done now. But at the end of the day, the people doing the work know. So why would we want to cut and paste our boss's goals when we really need ours to relate to our boss, but we don't need them to be the exact same? They need to be personalized to us. And then are we measuring our success? Because without measurement, you have absolutely no idea where you're going. And all of these symbols need to equal our behavior. We could say anything we want in documents, put them up on the walls, have them going down the hallways. We could have videos on them. But until our behavior aligns to this dream, this vision, mission, goals, measures, and behaviors, we're saying one thing and doing another thing, which is the fastest way to have an integrity issue. So we want to make sure there's alignment between our behavior and where it is. Now, what is our behavior? Well, who we're hiring, who we're rewarding, how we're developing people, how we're treating our customers. I like to cite a customer here. They used to own a company called Bribovich, and I don't know how many people know Wayne Huizinga Jr., but They recently sold about 8 months ago or so. But years ago, he'd been trying to implement to be the most customer service luxury yacht and caring for the crew and the mates and the boats. He wanted to be the best servicing that there ever was. And there was a disconnect between what was being done and what they were saying. And they couldn't figure out what the disconnect was. Nobody was doing anything on purpose, but there needed to be that alignment. And so he invested in his people to go through the process of running special leadership journeys. And all of a sudden, all of the alignments started to happen. Why? Because they were having the discussions that were meaningful. Tugboat captains were going to the leadership journey. And tugboat captains are critical. If you tug a boat in and mess it up, you're going to have a problem. So the restaurant, all the way they service. So you have to align your behavior and your processes to what it is you say you want in your company. So if you're leading and you're a leader of leaders, you're a project manager, and you're saying you want certain things, you got to really align all the behaviors to that. So what's going to get in the way? Communication. And we saw that on this call, we have some D's, dominant influencers, and we have some I's, the influencers. We have some steadiness. We didn't have any C's reportedly. We probably have blends of that because we're all complex. But the issue is if you have a group of very, very high C's and a group of high D's and a group of high I's and a group of high S's, you're going to have a lot of conflict. And you need that conflict. You want all that conflict. The issue is, how are you chatting through and working through those conflicts in order to align and appreciate each other so that you're, again, using everyone's magic dust for the benefit of where it is you're going in your vision, mission, goals. And that will bring you the vision clarity that you need. It's so weird. I have a great customer who has an innovation lab, and they run bunches of TV stations. And on the side, they have an innovation lab. And that innovation lab has an unbelievable vision. And it really is to create content and programs that are unique and special. And one of the things is that he needed somebody, because his magic dust is the creativity part, he needed somebody to really help with the clarity piece. And he's got that person now. And that person really is bringing clarity to the roles, to the goals, and the alignment so that everybody is understanding where they fit in. Because sometimes leaders have a great dream, and it's so far, if you remember the thing I had up with me in the kite surfing, it's in the clouds. It needs to be brought down to reality. And so you need these great people that can do that. And then you hold people accountable, and you hold yourself accountable. If you're going to empower yourself to go where you've never gone before, and again, this is my weakest area, so I shouldn't be up here, but I have made a lot of change. And the weird part is that even when you do 360s, and I don't know how many people here have done a 360, but I try to do one at least every 1 year or every 2 years. And the funny thing is, this still comes up in my 360. They go, Mike, you've made fabulous progress in it, but you still need to do more. And we laugh about it in the team because it is so important. It messes other things up when you don't hold people accountable. And so it's a gift, but it's an Achilles heel. And the issue is, how do you keep getting clearer and clearer with it? We have a slogan about conflict. And the slogan we like to use is, without conflict, there is no leadership. Now, when people on this call see that, it probably makes your skin crawl, or I know it does make a lot of people's skin crawl, but that's conflict within yourself and conflict within your team. And what we're talking about here is healthy, honoring, and respectful conflict. And it's proven that conflict, healthy, honoring, and respectful, is a beautiful, brilliant thing. Why you need it? Because you need to give and receive feedback with each other so that you can improve processes, improve quality, and improve the way you're doing things. I heard over and over again the gentleman that is transformation experts, one of their customers, speak at the conference, how they started to have healthy, honoring, and respectful conflict. And that opened up so many process changes within the company that they never realized were sitting there waiting to be done. And it was just a real benefit to everybody. And I like to look at it based on the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. If anybody has not read 5 behaviors of a dysfunctional team, I encourage you to do that. And I encourage you to read that book. And then the undoing of is the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. And we are certified in that as well. And that's where you build trust. You have healthy, honoring, and respectful conflict. You have a commitment to each other. You then hold each other accountable and results. And if you think you have it down and you haven't run an assessment to really measure where you're at, you really don't have it down. Because even in our team, when this process was created about 6 years ago with the Patrick Lencioni, and it was created, and then they created the certification. We had one of our executive coaches go through it, and she brought it back to People Tech, and she asked me, could she run it for the People Tech team? I said, yes, for sure. Our team coaches said, we don't need that. We're executive coaches. We don't need any of that. Well, we measured where we were and all the gaps that existed, and yes, we needed it. We needed it as much or more than our customers. And so again, that's a process, not an event. I encourage everybody, if you don't have a metric of where your team is, to run and get measured in the tool. Start with reading the book, The 5 Behaviors of a Dysfunctional Team by Patrick Lencioni. There's an antidote to it, which is the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. So you end up trusting each other more. You engage in healthy, honoring, and respecting conflict. You commit and persist with each other. You hold each other accountable. There are results, and because that's really what you're looking for. How do we get these great results for our organization? What's our future going to look like 2, 3, 4, 5 years down? What's our sustainability plan, and how do we make it come alive? The key is, are you going to influence yourself, and can you influence others? We argue all the time is, can you influence somebody? And you can. The issue is you got to start with you. And all these muscle building is starting with yourself and having a belief in your mindset that you can work on all these different areas and overcome any obstacles. I'm actually attending an overcoming obstacles process with a coach right now. And I'm finding things that I didn't even realize were a couple of the barriers and obstacles to some of my longer term goals that I had to overcome. So that in and of itself is not something you just do once. You do it over time. And the issue is to be open enough with yourself to go through your fears and your insecurities to influence others and yourself. You're going to end up, when you do this, to have these unbelievable, authentic, and lasting relationships. Our customers have been our customers for 25 years. I'm very proud to say that. Some, and for the first customers into People Tech when I was running around by myself. And a lot of them are still making changes, running journeys, and doing all these things. And it's just, it makes you feel good. You will find that you will have these lasting relationships that are more authentic and more meaningful and more impactful. Sometimes you end up having to make a change because your magic dust isn't fitting into where it is and being used and honored and respected as much as it could. Not any fault of anybody's, but you see so much change going on right now, and people aligning to what they think they need to do most for their career. And I like to think of it as aligning to their vision, mission, goals, and the magic dust that they bring to this or any organization. Feedback is so crucial, giving and receiving feedback in a healthy, honoring, and respectful manner. So it's not an easy thing to do, but if you're not getting feedback or giving feedback, I would say, here's a good place to start. And the way you can do it is by measuring where you're at in the compass. You could give yourself feedback in a self-reflective way. And if you need help, you can ask other people, where do you think I'm at in this compass? We just created a 360-degree feedback process based on the compass, and people can measure themselves and have other people tell them where they're at in these different areas. You want to feel, again, successful and valued and inspired to stretch beyond your limit. If you're not being inspired, you might want to ask yourself, what's holding me back? Why am I not feeling inspired for my career? Is it because I'm not being used for my magic dust? Is it I don't get to use it? I remember I had a great job. I loved my job, but I didn't feel I was able to use all of my magic dust that I wanted to. So I had to make a change. Was it scary? Yes. How many of you are sitting there waiting to make the change? And that's okay. It's not to beat yourself up, but if you put a plan in place and start taking steps, you could begin to inspire yourself and fuel the success that you're looking for. I like to look at a definition like this. Leadership is empowering yourself and others to go where they've never gone before and wouldn't go without some assistance or coaching. Management is planning, organizing, controlling, and following up. Coaching is helping others to achieve their desired goals and objectives, and technician is doing a job or a task extremely well. The issue is, where are you spending most of your time? Are you spending it in leadership, management, coaching, or as a technician? And the issue is to know where you're at. I'm spending most of my time as a manager, and that's fine. Or I'm spending most of my time doing a job or a task really well. That's fine. The issue is, how much do you want to spend in other parts based on your vision, your mission, and your goals? How much are you coaching your team, the people that you're leading, to really empower them to go where they haven't gone before and challenge them with the conflict that you need to? So if I leave anyone with anything, it's this continual learning. It's this true north. And that's why this program was created. Leadership is a process, and it's not an event. And that ties in. We all need to be continual learners. I know Rick and his team are, and I'm proud to really be associated with them. I love going to the conference because he's presenting in these conferences all kinds of education that are helping people to be the best leaders that they can be, and just a wonderful thing for the Agile community and for the community as a whole. So I thank you all for coming. I'm here to answer any questions if we have any time, and I'm open for questions.
Before we start the questions, I want to try to get a quick snapshot. So can everyone please turn on your cameras?
Okay.
Camera.
Yeah, and this is something that we do, guys. We take a quick picture just to kind of celebrate our special speaker and to celebrate all of you for coming in. Oh, I see Miriam. Hey, Miriam, how are you? So great to see you. And I see Miss Roxana. Welcome, Miss Roxana. Awesome, Andrea. Welcome, Andrea. See how awesome when we turn on our cameras and see everybody. And so, Michael, you get to see everybody.
Oh, God, this is wonderful. I love it. I love it. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And please, do you have any questions? Are there any questions of any of the material I covered? Magic dust, vision, mission, goals.
You're not going anywhere. So just understand. I don't know if you've gotten the memo. Like once you present, you're actually you're stuck here forever.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
That's awesome. I love it. And I'm here to answer any questions. And if not here, you could always call me or write me, and we're glad to answer anything. So, anybody have any questions? So
Mike, this is how it works. We're going to take a snapshot, but this is the way we take a snapshot. It's all about a gesture. It's all about a gesture, right? So we're going to throw out a gesture to you of how they felt, right?
Oh, I like it.
So what kind of gesture do we want to put? A positive gesture, or like, do we want to put, how do you feel when a leader misbehaves, or do we want to say something positive? What kind of gesture do you think we want to put out there? What would you pick?
Positive. I think something positive.
Okay, let's think the positive. Okay, so you see a leader out there who's behaving amazing, is a visionary, and you want to thank them. What gesture would you put out? What gesture would you put out? So again, decide on whatever gesture you want. Oh, we got a clapping from Sharon. Alex is kind of lit. I don't know if that's too much. Is that okay? Good job, Alex. All right, and Jackie's giving the thumbs up while she's driving, so I'm terrified, half to death on that one. I think she's parked.
No, I'm parked.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, don't do this while you're driving.
All right, so you ready to come out with the gesture? Nelu, are you ready? All right, so let me think about this. Well, I'm grateful for a leader for taking a stand. All right, so let me see. what do I do? I'm gonna do it like this.
All right.
Real strength. All right. I like Alex's gesture there. He actually put some bicep into it.
Muscle.
All right. You
All
ready
right.
to take a snapshot, Nilu?
Ready. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you. Thank you,
I'm gonna
everyone.
pump you up. All
That's
right.
a good one, Rick. I like that.
So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick.
So as for questions, okay, so we do have a little bit of time for some questions. I want to make sure we answer them. But we're also going to be available. And how do we reach you? We have your email, right? You've got your LinkedIn, you've got your podcast, you've got all kinds of methods to reach you, right?
Yes. Yes. Nailu's got all my info and my phone number. Anybody can call my cell. I'm glad to give it 954-336-7553. And that's my personal cell. And I'd be glad to walk any personal questions anyone has, help them measure themselves against a compass and discuss where they're at.
And at any time you can call him. I call him at 3 o'clock in the morning, he picks up. So please, that's the best time to call him.
My phone is off.
3 a.m.
Mi novia es cubana and she won't like that.
All right. So, Neilu, I know you're working on that post. So again, as she posted in LinkedIn, please, let's make sure we share it. We thank him for the amazing job that he did. And just so you know, all you have to do is bring someone else to the party. Okay, so that's what we're asking for you. We're not charging. This is a free event, but just reach out to a friend that you think might benefit. We're doing this every week. We bring amazing speakers like Mike here to kind of showcase, agile leadership and all these areas of focus. Okay, we only do that with your help, and we've been changing the world, guys. 3 years of this ongoing every week. So amazing job. We're very thankful to be in this position. All right.
If anyone has any questions?
Any questions for Michael? Any questions about leadership, about your leadership capability, or your questions about your leaders that you're dealing with every day? How do
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
So, Mike, you talked about like the commanding type of leadership, right? And from my experience, right, working with someone commanding, I saw that it led to people trying to just simply lie to avoid, to make them happy and to just avoid them, right? So from your experience, right, what have you seen from the commanding type where people, how do they react to that type of leadership style?
Yeah, that's a great question, Alex. And I don't know if has anybody tried to give the person any feedback in private in a healthy, honoring manner where they've called them, to the side themselves, not through a text message or through an email but really one-to-one. If you could do it in person, it'd be fabulous. Takes a lot of risk to do this, and I don't know if the company that you're talking about is losing people, Alex, because generally when there's somebody like that, people are afraid. And in the current world, the opportunity is that you guys all know this, the colleagues and staff are going to other places. Why? Because they don't want to be treated poorly and they want to be honored and respected for the specialness that they bring. They don't want to be bullied, to your point earlier. So has anybody ever tried to give this person feedback? Do you know?
Oh, you're asking me personally? Well, this was like a long time ago, right? The person, it was his own business. He was very fearful of people taking his idea. I guess it was a very easy business to like mimic and copy and make your own. So I understand why he reacted the way it was. It was more like a blue collar type job, like a delivery type job. So
Sure.
I understand the reason he was the way he was, right? And I remember I spoke to Rick about it, and he said, put yourself in his shoes. And I never thought about it that way. But regardless, there were ways that I don't know. It was very difficult to deal with, right?
Did
you would
his
have
business succeed? Did his business succeed and everything?
Yeah, it did. It's very successful.
Okay. Yeah. So the issue is he's gonna be with him the rest of his life.
Exactly.
So the issue is I don't know if he's surrounded by people that, that he wants to do with, if he's getting the joy that he wants to, because it won't determine whether you are or you're not successful. And to Rick's point, if you put yourself in, as long as it was tolerable for you, did you stay or did you go?
No, I stayed for as long as I could. And when I got a better job, just like everyone, they move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, generally what I find with that is the turnover gets to be really, really high with a lot of folks, unless they have the courage to sit down with somebody and say, when you do this, this is the impact that it's having on us at achieving our goals of where we want to go. And again, I don't know the particulars without coaching that particular person and what they were so afraid of. Generally, fear is a false expectation of something that they have. It may not even be real. They're trying to control everything through intimidation, through those kind of things. So,
and it was a very, very high turnover. We're talking about, on average, probably someone would last a week, right? And that just shows like it's hard to find good people and good workers, and even more if you are that way, in my opinion. So
yeah, and it doesn't, a lot of times it doesn't correlate to whether they make it or they don't make it. The dilemma is the person happy? Is that the way they want to run their company? And have the culture known, because like what it is, and everybody else that worked there and everybody else that left knows what it is. So it makes it even harder and harder to attract people at that point.
Before we go to the next question,
question.
again, let's please make sure we like the link. So it's on the chat. Just go to LinkedIn, give, great praise for amazing presentation. Share it. And Andrea.
Hi, good afternoon. Great presentation. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. You talked about leadership styles, and Alex just spoke about it and asked this question. I'm wondering, do you find that leaders take on more of an adaptive style based on the stage of the development of their team? Or do you find that leaders just tend to stay in one type of style and that's them? They don't change?
That's such a great question. Obviously you can't be everything to everyone, but at the end of the day, you are who you are, and it would be great to know what style to use, and when, as the team is forming, you need to have a more direct approach and a more, here's what we're going to do, and a more, we have to accomplish certain things, not in an arrogant way, but here's the kind of things that have to get done. And as the team gets more and more developed, you could change your style. But the issue is to know what your style is and what the style is of everyone else's, so that you can get clear on how each person's going to play in their role, and that you're going to respect everybody for what they're bringing to that organization. And the thing is that awareness is what's so powerful. I know many of you, I'm sure, part of organizations, you're doing different instruments like strength finders or Enneagram or Myers-Briggs or some of the, the DISC or any of these tools. All of the tools give these insights. And the issue are the greatest leaders to that point are able to take everyone in and listen well enough that they create the plan so that the roles that are needed the most are put on the areas that are needed the most attention to, with the gift that person brings. So then once that's done, those people can move off to something else, and other people can take over that are more applicable to take over that at that time after it's more fully developed. So, and everybody understands their role. So they all understand that I'm only in it to do the part that's my specialty, and then I can go do this other piece that's making any sense. Great leaders know that talent. And I have a client that said, I don't want to manage anybody. And we laughed about it because some level of management's needed. And actually, Peter Drucker, a famous management expert for years and years, said you have to do management. If you do anything, you have to do planning, organizing, controlling, and following up. There's got to be some baseline. And this guy told his whole team, I don't want to do any management. So what he did is he hired this phenomenal expert in management. And that guy is doing a fabulous, fabulous job coming in and organizing everything. Everything is, so the vision was there already. It was putting in the management plan, organizing, and controlling structure that had to be set in. And this guy is doing a great job with the team. I'm getting feedback from the team that's saying, wow, we've needed this so much. So perfect timing for the role that was needed, and the leader knowing he wasn't doing it so well. He wasn't being the greatest manager. And if that leader had said, suddenly I want to be a great manager, he would have never done it. I know the person personally, and for many years, phenomenal leader, very, very highly respected throughout many industries. And I don't care if he would have spent the next 20 years being a manager, he wouldn't have done a great job at it, where this other person is phenomenal at it. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Well, that just make me want to ask you another question.
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you think that management and leadership are exclusive, or that you could have a good leader who's also a good manager?
Yeah, that's a fabulous, you can. So in other words, you could have a great leader that also has phenomenal management skills, but I find it generally not as clear as that. It's pretty difficult to have the management skills you need and the leadership skills you need. And you got to kind of surround yourself with people that can fill in your gaps. And the best leaders that I know are able to build a team that each person brings their magic and their dust, what I call magic dust, to the team, and then performs that. And then the other people help them along the way. Not that they have zero management skills, but they have some, and they might even have better than the average. And there are great leaders that have both. It's kind of not as common as you think. They're there, but they surround themselves by fabulous people that have fabulous skills in different areas, and they know how to use those folks for the best. Just like a musical band, not everyone plays the instrument the exact same way, and not everyone plays it with the same style, but you merge the styles and make it all come alive. That's what a great leader can do. If you look at, anybody's read Steve Jobs, he was a creator. He was not a great manager. He was a phenomenal creator, phenomenal. But until he got people to be the refiners and the executors and the implementers, his ideas were his ideas. And he really, his leadership was fabulous in that he knew what he wanted the product to look like because of his life experiences, and he knew what it should come out like. So he kept forcing the people that were good in other skills to refine it and to make it better and to make it better and to make it better. Now you could say those were his management skills, but he wasn't the one managing. It was other people doing it. He was the one empowering them to go where they've never, and holding them accountable to it. He was brutally accountable for this quality that he wanted. And you could say that's management, but it wasn't planning, organizing, controlling, and following up. He had to have implementers.
For the last question, again, we got to make it quick. Karen, you got your hands up?
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Michael. You kind of answered a little bit to what the question I was going to ask was. I always believe that leadership is not about me; it's about the people that I lead. But I realize that there's some people who are in leadership roles who are managing, and people don't necessarily want to follow them because they're too hands-on, they're too micro. So in your experience, should a leader be more of a visionary and a coach and a guide versus like towing people, like managing by objectives? Because I prefer to defer to the former versus the latter.
I totally understand. The fabulous questions, these are all great questions. And to answer what I think on that is everyone has to have a vision. It's a dream, an aspiration that's very personal, almost impossible, and it's eternal. A lot of times managers don't stretch themselves to fulfill that dream. They have them, but they're a little afraid of it because it would help them lose a little bit of control. So it's generally a person that's kind of like out there, kind of radical, okay, kind of They've empowered themselves to think way beyond anything that's there. And they need managers to come in and make sure that they implement. But the problem, to your point, is where's the inspiration in that? And that's why each person, I don't care what role you're in, needs to have a vision, mission, goals, and measures. And that's at all levels in the organization. And the issue is how you're going to empower yourself to go where you've never gone before if you're not getting it from the person that's there leading you. Because you can do it. We end up making it up if they don't give it to us anyway. So we might as well be on purpose about it and empower ourselves to go where we've never gone before. And so if our manager's not doing it for us, are we doing it for ourselves?
So we need to be intentional. We need to be intentional and take on the leadership role, even though we're not in the role. We can still lead as people. Okay.
Yes, we can. And you can have discussions. I'd like to think out of the box. I want you to think out of the box. I want you to, break all the molds over there so that we can become better. And it all is based on what is the vision of the company. Where is it going? And a lot of times that's unspoken or we don't really know. Let's get it known. There's no reason it shouldn't be known. You guys have every right to ask where are we going.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
So where are we going now?
Where are we
We're
going
gonna have
now?
to leave. Okay, so
This is my favorite subject.
Great job. Final word. If you had one word for us to leave on, what would that one word be?
That's such a great one word.
One word. You can't do two and a half. No, just one word.
Motivation.
Motivation. All right. Awesome, guys. So thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you Saturday and next Wednesday. Please join us.
See everyone. I thank
Michael,
everyone
thank
for
you.
attending.
Thank you,
Great,
That was a
Michael.
great
questions.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you,
Thank you all
Michael.
too. Enjoyed it. I'll talk to everybody soon.